going on there, YouTube? Another hanging out in the scale shop video. Sunday today. So, a couple little things I want to do. Kind of been in a rut lately. I need to start some big builds, but everything's kind of up in the air because I built the real garage and I'm trying to organize all my tools, and it's been raining non-stop, so just haven't got a whole lot done, but got a few things I want to do today. So yeah, let's get started with some new accessories here in the scale shop. My dad, after I gave him his scale garage, he got a constant eye out now like I do, looking for scale things everywhere he goes. And he's got these little trophies. He had them in his shop. He picked me up some too. So I put them on top of the toolbox. Pretend they're car show trophies or something. But they're pretty scale. I think that's a dollhouse accessory. And he also picked up these bottles of water. Not sure if I can get you a good look at those. They're pretty small. All right, that's about as zoomed in as I can get it. They're actually very nice. They're like a casting. They're not actually like, yeah, they're like a real water bottle. They're nice and smooth. The caps are blue. The labels are realistic looking. So I've got those sitting around the scale shop, and I'm going to put some in some of the scale coolers and stuff that I keep in some of my rigs. Just another little thing, you know, nothing groundbreaking, but it's really nice quality. It's got a realistic water with the label with a barcode and all that. It's a pretty neat little thing. The one thing I've been needing to address is the Farmtruck. The rear suspension, I guess just from the traveling when I went to Florida, it was in a big crate packed with foam, but it did wear down, bend the suspension links. And let me show you close why that's happening. So you can see what I've got going on here. I didn't have the right combination of rod ends and spacers and stuff to get the shock angles where I needed them. So you can see it's kind of bent. I've got a really long, what do you call them? Just one of the rod links in there, but this is plastic and it's stripped out and it keeps giving way and it's just gonna come off. Last time I drove it, we were doing burnouts and stuff, and it did break loose. I got it shoved back together in the meantime, but it's not a permanent fix. So we're going to readdress the lower suspension links on this. See what we can do. I may have to take some really long screws and cut the heads off and use those, because I'm pretty sure that's the longest rod length that you can get that I have in there. They're probably 3/4 inch. And I don't have any threaded rod. This is about 10 mil, 2 5mm spacers. I didn't have any threaded rod that would work like that. So I can't have a solid mount in the middle. It has to go all the way through from rod end to rod end. And yeah, it just isn't working. And I can't shorten that because then it'll pull the shock angle in, and the shock will hit the chassis as it compresses. And yeah, we really need the shocks to work. So I'm going to take this thing apart real fast and we'll see what we can do. Alright guys, so here's a look at what I had on there. I had already swapped out to cut bolts. So this is the longest one of these I've ever seen, the rod links. And yeah, the main problem was these were the ones that were on there. They're super short, and I used the cut end of the bolt to thread into them. They were already pretty well used and boogered up, so they wallowed out real quick. I've got two. I've managed to scrounge up two that have not been used a whole lot. I've got nice clean threads in the plastic, but I am going to need to make longer bolts, and I can't find any longer bolts. Every long bolt I've had has been sacrificed for something like this throughout the past. So I've got one, and I don't know, I'm digging around here trying to find another, but I need to probably add another 5mm onto what's already there. So yeah, and this time I'm going to thread the good end into the small rod end, and then we'll force the jagged end into the big end, because it's got a lot more room, a lot more length, so we can get more of it in there and we don't have to worry about it bending and such down the road. Alright guys, got it all back together. Seems to be working pretty good. I hated to do it, but the only bolts I had two of that were long enough were some of my nice scale hardware. So yeah, had to make a sacrifice, cut the heads off of them, but everything is a lot more solid now. Pretty happy with that. This thing still has whole lot of flex in the rear. Driveline angle and stuff still good, and it's ready to sit on the shelf and stare at. I've robbed all the electronics out of this truck over time, just trying to keep the rigs all running. This one is a fun drive. With the R4 transmission, it's got a Tamiya standard 540 motor. It's one of the about 27 turn, I think. And yeah, pretty good little tire spinner. See, there's still some rubber torn up on the tires. I thought about putting different tires and wheels on it, but it's just hard to change it. It's been done for a while, and I'm pretty happy with how it came out. So probably not going to mess with the Farmtruck, but we'll get it running again here before long and take it for another drive. I realized that I've never driven this on a lipo, and that was spin the tires with a stick pack. So I'm having a shortage on receivers right now. That leads us to our next topic here for the Scale Shop Hangout. I got a new radio. I've been looking at them for months. I finally got the Spektrum DX5 Rugged. And yeah, I don't have enough receivers for everything, so I've been trying to pick and choose what gets what I have. And I've been trying to reuse some of, most of the Spektrum receivers I already had, but I've run across an issue with one of them. And I think it was the one in the Amigo. This is an old Spektrum SR3300T. And it will not bind with the DX5 Rugged. And I don't know why. I haven't been able to find anything online going through troubleshooting, so that kind of sucks. I had the Amigo running great with LiPo. It's got a new ESC in it and everything. We redid it not that long ago. And yeah, I was really wanting that one on the new radio, so I'm going to have to wait and buy some more new receivers, which is another problem. The receiver that the DX5 Rugged comes with, I can't remember the model, but it's really nice. They've done away with the bind plug. It's just a button now, and it's a really nice, small, compact receiver. I put that in the ramp truck. The ramp truck was on one of the old RC 4-wheel drive, ready to run radios, and I'm trying to get everything on one radio, but that's going to cost me in the receivers. Those receivers from Spektrum are about $54, which I think is kind of high. So I don't know. I've got to do some research to see what's compatible with the new one, what's not. Try to figure out if this is going to work, or is this going to be the one that I sell with the old DX3S that I have. But yeah, let's get the radio out here and we'll take a look at it. Alright guys, so I haven't got a whole lot of time driving with this yet. I think I've only driven one rig with it, just to kind of test it. I've spent a lot of time programming, setting up the rigs, putting in the names and stuff. The little touchpad here is a pain in the butt. It takes some getting used to. I've been told you can adjust it, but I've kind of gotten used to it. I programmed about 4 rigs on it so far, and just going through and trying to put in the names and everything, it has I've gotten the hang of it a little bit more. But it does take some getting used to. I was ready to take the thing back, and there was a lot of foul language involved. That's why I didn't start doing a video about it when I got it, because I was pretty frustrated. I still got to do some reading. I'm trying to learn how to set up the other channels, because this is a 5-channel, and I've never had anything more than a 3. And I know on my DX3S, it was your third channel was only off or on. There was no dead switch. It wasn't a 3-way switch, it was a 2-way switch. These are programmable. I've looked at it a little bit. I think I can figure it out. But it would be nice to have lights on one switch and a winch that works. I've never had a working winch before. So have one actually hooked up and tied into the radio where I can remotely operate it would be fantastic. But yeah, my initial thoughts on it, it takes some getting used to, but the overall feel of it, the ruggedness of it, it is going to be nice. I've seen a lot of GoPro mounts for this that mount off of this brace on this side, and that's something that appealed to me because I'm constantly filming and driving by myself, so having something like that would be handy. One thing I was kind of disappointed with, the menus and operating screens and stuff are basically the same. They've not upgraded the operating system at all. I'm not sure if there's a bad glare on that in the camera. See if I can get that to go away. But it's basically the same setup as the other one, which is good in a way because it allows me, I already know where everything is just about. But yeah, I miss the actual rolly wheel because it doesn't like to scroll up as much as it likes to scroll down. And it's kind of hard for me because I work with my hands all day, every day. So I have calluses and stuff like that. So I have fat fingers, I guess. But yeah, it's still basically the same exact layout we had. I do like that it shows you the voltage of the batteries. I went through a set of batteries just trying to program the first 4 rigs. It does have the haptic response. When you touch something and you select it, it does vibrate a little bit, which I'm sure eats up the battery quite a bit. I haven't looked yet to see if there's a LiPo option for this. That would be nice. As much as I use this stuff and as many rigs as I'm going to use it on, it would be nice to have a rechargeable battery option. But yeah, overall it's basically the same as the other. It's just a newer shell, and they're $200 everywhere, and it's not terrible. I think that's a fair price for it. Like I said, I haven't got a whole lot of wheel time with it, so I don't know all the nuances. I do like this. I don't like the power button. You have to hold it. But overall, it's alright. The hidden tool compartment is what I bought it at a local hobby shop. You know, trying to support one local hobby shop there is, and they were all excited about the tool compartment. It really won't hold anything I need. It might hold a regular old Allen screw, but it won't hold, you know, an actual Allen driver or anything that I would actually use out on the trail. But that's why they have cargo shorts, I guess. But yeah, I still got a lot to learn on it, so I'm just kind of doing a long-term review. I'm not getting into it right now. It's going to take time from driving different rigs and trying to program different things on it. And then once I get comfortable with it, we'll do a big review on it. And yeah, but you know, it is what it is. You've got to have a radio. This one's designed more with rock crawlers in mind, more channels. It's more durable for out on the rocks and stuff. There's been plenty of times I've fallen down on a trail trying to climb up where my truck was, and yeah, you got your controller in hand, and that's the first thing to hit the ground when you fall. So so far I'm kind of in the middle. I'll give it a 6. I like it a little bit better, but it's far from a 10 because there's no electronic improvements. It's all mechanical improvements. There's no foldable, breakable antenna. We've got a thumb shift or thumb drive on the steering wheel, and it's more durable, rugged, all that. So we got exterior improvements, but not so much on the interior improvements. I don't know as far as processing speed and how it, you know, handles driving and how quick the response time and stuff is. I don't know about that yet. But as far as the operating system and the layout and the touchpad, lost some points there. But you know, my other one I've had forever, my DX3S, has been a fantastic radio. I bought this used 8 years ago, roughly, and it's been good to me ever since. Had some batteries start corroding in the battery compartment. Took them out, wiped it out. It's been working great for another few years. And, you know, so I've got faith in the Spektrum product. I'm not abandoning them because of their lack of updating on software. But I pretty much just upgraded exteriors. But yeah, we'll talk more about that later. Let's take a look at something else. Alright, so let's talk about future projects. I've got an idea that's been eating at me forever. And I've got another set of Pro Air RC air suspension. And I really want to do something full-bodied. I don't want to do another rat rod. I'm kind of actually burnt out on rat rods. I built, what have we got, 4 good ones? 3.5, 5, I don't know what we got. We got the main 3 here in the shot. And we've got the original number 1, which it's just a display piece now. I've taken all electronics out of it. And we've got the number 3 that has the air or the servo actuated suspension. But I want to do something different. I really wanted to take a CC01 Tamiya frame and put the air suspension on it. But I did some mocking up with my Amigo, and it looks really good with these wheels. These are the Vanquish 2.2 Vintage, and I bought some of the super narrow hexes for them. I've got them here on this Tamiya TA02 frame, which could easily be made to work with the air suspension, but I don't have a body. I don't know what body. A platform like this is not super scale. It's got 4-wheel independent suspension, but it's kind of an adjustable wheelbase. I mean, this is the short wide, and we can flip the arms around and make it standard length TA02. What is that? I don't know. But I don't want to use Lexan. I want a hard body. So I'm kind of, I can convert this chassis to fit the Amigo body, one of the CC01 bodies, but I'm looking at the length of the air struts. They're just so long. Let me get one here. So even if I do that, we need a body with a high front end, with a high tall hood. The Amigo hood is just barely above where the tires would be, all the way aired out. And yeah, so that's the problem I'm having with that. Honestly, if you've seen the RC Addict, he 3D printed a van. There's a van file going around. Old Chevy, like G20, just straight side van. It's a lot of body work, but a van might work because it's going to have a big slope on the front, the windshield, so we'd have room for these struts to come up and be kind of where the dash would be in the body. But I haven't seen any measurements on that yet, and I don't like it, A, because it's a multi-piece print, because it is so large. And yeah, so I don't know how to fit that to scale with the rest of my stuff, because that's one thing I'm real big on. But I do want to do a full-bodied air ride vehicle with these wheels and tires. And again, these are 2.2 Vanquish. They are beadlocks. These are Proline inversion. These are the same wheels and tires that I have on the ramp truck, but these are the gray finish as opposed to the satin silver. Like I said, I put narrow hexes on here to try and see how much we could tuck, and it does work well with this chassis. It clears all of the front steering knuckles and everything, and it could make something cool out of it. I haven't done anything with this. The TAO2 was my first hobby grade RC car, so when this was the Porsche Jägermeister 934, I think, kit they re-released, and it came with the carbon chassis and all the little upgrades, and I've done a few extra upgrades on it when we built it. There's a whole build series on that, and I've never driven it. It's just kind of one of those showpieces, and I don't have a whole lot of concrete area to drive, so on-road cars are kind of hit and miss around here, but it it's just been sitting around, and I had the old Clodbuster Rust Buster body on it, and yeah, it doesn't work with these wheels and tires because they are so big, but I just kind of got tired of seeing that sitting around, so I yanked that off. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that body. It was pretty much scrap to start with. But, yeah, I'm thinking maybe this platform. It just depends on what body I can find. But like I said, the Pro Air RC kit still has got that big box with the compressor and tank. So a van would give us tons of space to put all that, and plenty of room for electronics and lights and whatever else we decide to do. And plenty of room to tuck big, giant 2.2 wheels up under it. I'm not sure how much lift this would actually get. I would have to it would actually be pretty easy to do. Let me show you. So this chassis would it would be fairly easy to add air ride to, because all we'd have to do is to either extend the upper shock mounts or make a new upper shock mount piece. Like I said, this is graphite, carbon, whatever. This is all their TRF stuff. But it bolts on, 2 bolts, simple and easy. So I could get a piece of aluminum, cut it and shape it how I needed to, body mounts, air ride mounts and all that, and we could raise them up to whatever height we actually needed. But again, 3D printed body, that size, a van, tons of material, probably not cheap, and tons and tons of body work, which does not excite me. I hate multi-piece bodies. That was the problem we had with the Apache body on the Rat Rod ramp truck, the original cab we used. It's so big, it was a multi-piece print, and it just was difficult to get to glue together. But when I do that, I use epoxy, like a 2-part epoxy glue, plastic weld, something like that, and it does hold very well. But yeah, you got to do it right, and it wouldn't hurt to reinforce it on the inside and stuff like that. So that's what I'm thinking on this. Maybe not this chassis, maybe this chassis, I don't know. It all depends about the wheelbase and what looks scale and what can tuck these tires and wheels, and what we can fit those struts on, and if we can even get enough lift up and down out of it. This being 4-wheel drive, I know the rear seems like it has a little bit more movement than the front, so I'm not sure, without taking it all apart, how much up and down movement we can actually get with it, if it's even worth messing with this chassis. But that's on the plate. That's something I've been wanting to do. That's something maybe to debut out at USTE next year. Yeah, I'm still trying to get the days off work. I apologize to everyone who invited me to events. It's all a work issue. I got into an area at work where there's a lot of people that have seniority, and I can't get any vacation days this summer. I didn't realize the summer would be completely booked up months at a time, months in advance. And yeah, when I went out to UST, I met some folks, and I got invited to a bunch of scale events all around the country and didn't think of nothing about it. And when they got closer, I went to take vacation, and it's not available. I can only have so many people off per day, and yeah, it sucks. So without going back to night shift, I probably won't get any good vacation, but I am planning ahead. I've got a month before I can schedule to go to USTE next year, and fingers crossed, everybody, that I can actually get it, because I don't want to miss it. But last year was the first year I went, and I'd love to make that a regularly scheduled RC Everyday stop on on the events. I was going to say my tour, but I don't go anywhere else. So yeah, that's where we're at with this and events and all that. I really love the way these wheels look on here. I don't have the beadlock rings in them. These have a harder foam. That was one issue I had with the ramp truck. I didn't realize the different compounds of buggy tires. These are 2.2 four-wheel drive front tires for buggies. They're perfect width for these wheels, and they come in pretty much only two compounds. They've got extremely super duper soft, which has a blue paint mark on them, which is what's on the ramp truck, which is horrible for the ramp truck because it's so heavy, especially lifting a rat rod on the back now. And then these are the medium compound. They have a purple mark, which I rubbed off on them, and they seem a lot better. So that'd be one thing I need to upgrade on the ramp truck, is switch to the purple compound. I can't remember if it's clay or what compound. They've got so many different variations. But yeah, I went with that this time. I did a little more research, knowing what I know from the other ones. And of course, this isn't as heavy, but they'll work out all right. So my HG Bruiser clone, I haven't done much with. We drove it, did the unboxing and all that, and did a video painting it and detailing the body, and that's about it. When I ran it, it came with this little battery. Where is it? It came with a pretty terrible battery. I don't even know where it is. There it is. It is a 1500 milliamp 7.4 LiPo in a standard stick pack shaped case, and wasn't real impressed with that. I tried to run it on this, but I don't think the ESC is very happy with 11.1 volts. And now that I've been running LiPo, I've got these, what are these? The ones my friend gave me from work. They're 7.4, but they're 5200 milliamp. And I think it'll still fit in the battery tray. So I was going to do a little test on that. It's pouring down rain again here. It's been the rainiest summer ever. So I can't really get this out right now, but we're still not done with it. I do want to do some more details. I want to do the interior. I'd like to get a nice, one of the new RC 4-wheel drive interiors. I haven't got to play with any of those yet. And do all that up, have door panels and all that to go with this pretty good paint job. I was pretty happy with that. For me, that's about as nice as they get. I still need emblems and a few things. I think some stickers might look nice too. Do some of the traditional Toyota stickers in black. But there's not a whole lot you can really do with these. I mean, Bruisers are really cool, and they're really not. I mean, you're pretty limited. Can't really lower it, put scale tires and wheels on it, because of the hubs. It just doesn't work right. It is what it is. It's a monster truck. It's a 80s show truck, I guess. But yeah, I was gonna take this LiPo and try it, see if that speed controller is happy at all, and fits perfect. Now that I've got Dean's connectors on everything, just about, we'll see what it does. I'm trying to remember what radio goes to this. I've got so many now. Alright, we got the right controller. The big old clunky tires are funny. But again, if you haven't seen these, check out Banggood has them kit version and ready to run. This was a ready to run one, and it was very well built. Got Loctite on stuff. I just knocked stuff off my bench. And you know, it's pretty much the 2012 release Tamiya Bruiser, almost to a T. Got the body and everything. It's pretty much the same. Banggood did give me a 8% off code. It's RC Ever 8% off, I think. It'll be in the video description. If you're looking for one of these, you know, check out Banggood. There'll be a link in the video description. They've been a long-time supporter of the channel. It's been almost 2 years that they've been working with me. And, you know, some of the stuff they have is very toy grade, very cheap, but You could convert it or use the hard body, some of that 16th scale stuff. And they have stuff like this, and this is completely hobby grade and a really good price. And you could take another 8% off of this. You could get the kit version, I think, for like $140. So you can't touch a actual Tamiya Bruiser for anywhere near that under $200. But you know, I like it. So I'm gonna run this around the living room real quick just to make sure it all works. Alright, so function test, everything's good. It shifts all the gears fine. Has a fair amount of flex for what it is. The biggest downside of this is the axles are both open. And the steering servo is way up here. And you've got this long linkage and you've got a mile of play in it. But I think I may lock the rear axle here eventually. I've got to find the right kind of pins, because these are just like the Tamiya axle. And there's a screw hole here in the top. It has a set screw in it. Not sure if you can see that in there at all. It's on the top of the axle, so I can't really get to it without taking stuff apart. And I'm not really looking to do that today. I just want to do electronics check. But probably at least lock the rear, because even in 4 low and everything, you know, it doesn't climb anything because nothing's locked. You get up there, get one wheel up, and it just sits there and spins the free wheels, and yeah. But it did seem a little bit zippier with that bigger lipo, and it didn't glitch at all. When I had the 11.1 on there, it was glitchy and it would cut out, and I'd have to turn it off, turn it back on, and it would work again. So I don't think this ESC is capable of handling more than 7.4, but it is lipo capable, which is nice. But yeah, that's one of those back burner projects. This thing looks good on the shelf. Looks nice and original, Tamiya-ish. But yeah, it's got a few little more details I'd like to do to it. And yeah, it's a really nice truck for the price. Alright guys, so that's about all I got for today. Hanging out in the scale shop. Got a build to get on. Yay. I've been putting it off. It's going to be a lot of work, but stay tuned for that. And yeah, appreciate you guys watching. Be sure to keep it scale. And check out the rest of the channel if you're new. Thanks for checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you on the next video.